Okay. Hello. I'm going to talk real briefly about something in the Bible, and we're around Genesis chapter 32. And this is about Jacob and the name Israel. Okay, so it came to my attention a few weeks ago, and I can't get it out of my mind that the name Israel actually means wrestling with God, or as they like to put it kindly, struggling with God. So here's a story of Isaac's sons, Jacob and Esau. So they were twins, and Esau was the firstborn. So the promise of Abraham that God gave to Abraham and Rachel was that the promise of that his line would carry on, and the blessing always went to the first child. So Esau was the first child born, first son, and the blessing was not given to him. His mother dressed him up to be like the brother. Isaac was dying; he was blind, and he and Jacob made believe he was Esau, and the father gave the blessing. So Isaac actually gave the blessing to Esau because that's who he believed it was, even though it was Jacob standing there. So I don't think that actually counts. That would be my interpretation. If you went to court today, they would say, no, he deceived a blind person and you don't have the blessing. It's like a father dying today and two brothers, and the father's leaving the money to one brother, and the other brother disguises himself as the one who was going to get the money and takes the money. It's not his; he stole it, and he has to give the money back. So then there's the story of, and I don't know how they get around this and they make it, but at any rate, Jacob and Esau are fighting, and Jacob's running. And when he's at a riverbank, he hears his brothers coming for him, and he splits up the group. And at that night, they like to use the word stranger for sons of gods, which is interpretation is angels. So Jacob wrestles all night with an angel, and he can't prevail. And the angel is mad. I guess he stole the blessing. I guess I don't know what else they would be wrestling about because it doesn't really specify. They kind of leave that part out. So now the phony Jacob, who stole the blessing that's not his, so he was never blessed because it went to Esau, that's who the father blessed, gave his blessing to, is not the one who received the blessing. So now he's wrestling with the angel, and in the morning, the angel hits him in the hip or touches his hip and makes him lame and knocks his hip out of joint or something like that. He asks the angel who he is, and he's asked for forgiveness or blessing. And the angel says, from now on, you will be called Israel. And then the angel leaves, not giving his name. So there are no witnesses to this, and this is Jacob's testimony that God forgave him. I don't know. We don't have anything there. Like, we don't have any kind of crazy stories like that with Jesus. In New Testament, I mean, there are witnesses to everything. Let me put the light back on if it doesn't want to go on. That's weird. There, we put the light back on. So, anyway, where were we with Esau with the angels and arguing? So his name is Israel. So the name Israel literally means wrestling with God. You were going against God. I don't know. How do you want to interpret wrestling with God? What does that mean? Does that mean he forgave you? That seems kind of weird to me. So anyway, I'm just putting that out there that's just kind of something that complicates my understanding of the Bible and the passing on of the blessing. Now we come to Israel. So just because it seems some cultures don't change the way they do things. So we have the creation of Israel. It's a Zionist state. So Theodore Herschel, along with the guy, some other guys, and the guys wrote the Balfour Agreement along with that to create the nation Israel for the Jewish people. Okay, so now they start bringing Jewish people over there, and everything's kind of fine, except for they set up some terrorist groups and take a little land away from some of the Palestinians. The League of Nations fails to implement England giving that land through the Balfour Agreement with the UN to the Zionists. Um, so they have to wait till after World War II. So they use the 6 million number because in the Talmud they write 6 million Jews get killed. That'll bring their Messiah in. So that's where the number 6 million comes from. They used it in Ukraine. 6 million Jews got starved. In Russia, 6 million Jews got killed. It's like they've been using that 6 million number a long time. The problem is that in Germany, I mean, Hitler in 33 sent, I don't know, 50 or 60,000 Jews to Palestine. I mean, everybody kind of wanted to have the Jewish people to have their own homeland. It wasn't like the Christians were very welcoming to them. I mean, even Hitler, he wanted them kind of out of Germany, but that's how it started. But the weird thing that's troubling me, and I'm kind of like struggling with this stuff because I know a great deal of many Jewish people, and probably more than most Americans. I live on the East Coast, and I grew up. I went to high school in a town that was 85% Reformist Jews. So the whole public school was almost Jewish. All the administrators, the teachers, almost everybody was Jewish. My high school years, not my grammar school years. Um, and then I have to actually worked in a town that has a very high Orthodox Jewish community, which I had a business in that town and met a lot of Orthodox Jewish people. Very nice people. People are people to me. I don't care what color or what religion or whatever. Doesn't bother me. But this kind of stuff bothers me. So the Balfour Agreement kind of says that they'll make Palestine, they'll turn that section of the Middle East. By the way, England, some people, for people who don't know, England defeated the Ottoman Empire and divided it up into 22 countries. So Saudi Arabia, Egypt, all those countries, Kuwait, Iraq, Iran, Afghanistan, like all, yeah, England divided them up and made all those countries. They just found a guy in a camel and made him king, and a clan, and and um and made him king and gave him boundaries, and that's their country. Like that's kind of how it happened. And then left Palestine for, which is what the Romans used to call the Philistines, call it Palestine. It's an English accent, I guess, on Philistine from Latin. So anyway, long time I explained that little bit of goofy history. The Balfour Agreement said that they would, and it was signed by the UN and everything when the UN came in 48, 3 years after World War II, that they would leave the indigenous people there, the people who lived there, the Arabs, the Palestinians, and that they would make that the Israeli homeland. Well, Israel, the Zionists, had a different idea. They went in there and they said, Palestinians and take their land, which is what they did, which was not what was in the Balfour Agreement or given to them. But they did it anyway. They poisoned the wells. I mean, you can find the stories. They would go in, slaughter a whole town, and then broadcast that they slaughtered everybody in the town. And if they didn't leave, that they were going to get slaughtered too. So Palestine, not having any army, had been under English control, and English just left them. They didn't have anything. They have an army, you don't have nothing. And so there was 1.3 million Palestinians in Palestine in 1948 in May, and when they passed the law to, or the agreement to make Palestine Zionist Israel, by the end of 1948, there was only 56,000 Palestinians left in Palestine. They ran for their lives. They had nothing to protect them, no one to protect them. They all ran or got murdered if they decided to try and keep their houses and properties. But that didn't happen. So now you have the Jewish people who killed everybody and stole their land. I don't think that's in the Bible. I don't know. I tried to look for it. I saw that, when Messiah comes, even in Old Testament, that he'll bring his people back to the promised land. I don't remember hearing them say the King of England and the UN and some Zionists will murder everybody and you can take the land back. But okay, we're where we are now today with all these wars. But now it's getting more trouble because now we have the Greater Israel Plan. So you got to look at the map of the Greater Israel Plan, which was given about 3 months before the October 7th attack from with that terrible air force the Palestinians had. I think three parasailers and some guys in jeeps. I don't know, a couple hundred guys, and most of the people killed, and we know today is true by the Jewish, and they enacted the Hannibal law in Israel, which means don't let anyone be taken prisoner, kill them rather than have them being taken prisoner. So as the Palestinians were thinking they were getting bargaining power by kidnapping all these Israelis, the Israelis just sent the helicopters and blew them all up on their way back to Palestine. So they killed all the Israelis that they were taking back. So they didn't kill as many as they said. I'm sure they killed some, but also there's this strange thing about Israel knew they were coming, and also that they took the army out of there, out of that area, so there was no protection, and nothing can get through that fence. But all of a sudden that day, a few hundred Palestinians got through the fence, and no one was guarding it. It's like a little fishy stories to me. Like I hear these stories, and I'm like wondering how does it happen like that? That doesn't make any sense. Anyway, 3 months before October 7th, Netanyahu was at the UN showing the Greater Israel Plan, which included Lebanon, Syria. Oh, wait, did Syria just fall? Iraq, Iran, Egypt, the Sinai, and of course, Jordan and all those other little countries over there. That's the Greater Israel Plan. That's the plan, them all being Zionist Israel. So, what about the indigenous people there? Well, I guess their fate is the same as the Palestinians. And then they can call them terrorists again. So, already Netanyahu's bragging that he was instrumental in helping the rebels there, the ISIS, and what I forgot the other group's name is. Oh, God, I'm having a senior moment. Have Syria fall. So, what happens now to all the Christians that live in Syria? Well, they're cannon fodder because we know that ISIS and Al Qaeda, that's the name I was thinking of before. So Israel supplied guns to the rebels, the Al Qaeda and ISIS, to overthrow the Syrian government and gave a big push to get it done. So now all the Christians are free game for the Al Qaeda and the ISIS. We've already seen what they do to Christians. How many Jews got killed? Jewish people. Geez, not as many as Christians per month, or Arabs for that matter. I don't know where they had about 100,000 are really the estimates in the Gaza and the West Bank. They're just why they're killing everybody. Why are there snipers shooting old ladies? What is this all about? What is the end game, the Greater Israel Plan? Build the third temple, which is not in the Bible, and bring the Messiah. Okay, so if Jacob never had the blessing and it's fake, he forged, he didn't get the blessing, there's no witnesses to anything, then they don't have the blessing. And they're not the ones supposed to be there. But okay, they're there. So the fairest thing to do, which Jacob should have done, was give the blessing back to his brother. But he didn't because he was selfish and greedy, power hungry. So God forgave him. I guess God forgives all the Jews for killing all the Palestinians, murdering and raping them and stealing their property. And we, the Americans, still pay for Israel for everything, as if we owe them for what Germany did in World War II, which can't be 6 million Jews that he killed because there was not 6 million Jews in all of Europe then. And in fact, in all of the Ottoman Empire, which included all those 22 countries in Egypt, all those countries, in 1914, there were 1,300 Jews living in there. So 1,300 Jews that were Semitic, Arabic. of Arabic descent. All the Jews that came from Europe are Eastern European. So I'm like, wait a minute. Something doesn't fit with this story is not making any sense to me. How can anyone justify murdering anyone? I I I I I can't comprehend that to take their land and their resources. This is about power and money and greed. This isn't about a homeland for the Jewish people. They could have just moved in there and lived like they live in the United States. You know, they could have had. I mean, all the cities have their ethnic neighborhoods. If I grew up in Patterson, New Jersey. Patterson has a Spanish neighborhood, a black neighborhood, and in Spanish, to be a Latino, it would be people from Haiti, or they kind of live together in culture. Black people live in their culture together. There were Italian neighborhoods and there were Arab neighborhoods in Patterson. They could have done the same thing in Palestine, but no, that's not what they did. They went in there and said, no, we're killing everybody and getting them out, and we're taking over. And wait, now all these wars started since then in the Middle East. They go, oh, they've been fighting for 1,000 years. No, not exactly. They were kind of living peacefully until they created Israel. And Israel is behind these wars. Netanyahu is a psychopath. You don't have to go far to see that he's a psychopathic liar. He lied about the Iraq war. He came and testified and said, oh, yeah, we have intelligence. They have weapons of mass destruction and that they're trying to build a nuke. He outright lied. Dead bang, 100% under oath to the UN, to the world. This guy's a psychopath. He just wants to kill people. I don't understand. I'm confused. And if somebody listened to this, just, I don't know, give me some comments or explain to me how Jacob stealing the blessing, how with no witnesses or anything that God forgave him, or other than him saying it, who was known as a con artist, obviously, because he stole his brother's blessing, that means you don't have it. You can't steal something and say it's yours. Not anything. I don't know. Maybe I'm just thinking too hard on it. I just want all the killing to stop. And I think this greater Israel plan better be stopped, or the whole world will fall and everyone will be a slave of Israel, which is actually what they teach. Oh, too, and I read these things in the Talmud, that it's a Jewish, that they should murder I'm sorry, can't use the word murder, because murder is only if you kill another human, to kill every Christian there is, because killing is like killing a chicken. So they don't consider us human as they are in the Talmud. They're only humans because they're chosen by God, by Jacob, who stole the blessing. So that makes them God's chosen people in the Abrahamic line. Something's wrong there, but okay, whatever. So it says in the Talmud, to kill all Christians. That's their duty. And it also says kill all non-Jews. It also says they could have sex with baby girls up till 3 years old because the hymen grows back. I mean, I don't know. There's something wrong. Rabbis wrote the Talmud. It's not godly inspired. It's interpretations of 3 different versions of Hebrew interpreted into Assyrian, Greek, and Babylonian. So they took those interpretations and rewrote a new book. It's called the Talmud, or they call Tanakh, which is the 3 books to make Torah. So the Christians use the Greek translation of Hebrew, which is like the most correct because Hebrew is a lost language. But okay, all of that aside, we're here today. People are people. Everyone has the right to live. Stop killing Arabs. Stop killing Jews. Stop killing Christians. Love one another. I'm so tired of watching all this stuff. I can't wait. Watch what's going to happen if they let Trump be president, which I voted for Trump, by the way. But if they let him become president and don't kill him right away, and he starts deporting immigrants, are we going to have the same problem they had in Palestine? Are they going to start killing us off? What's going on here? Because once those people get their benefits taken away and thrown out of the hotels, and they tell them, "Oh, get on this bus and go back," yeah, I don't think they're going to do that. I just have a feeling that there's going to be some problems. Yep, that's just me thinking out loud. I don't know, and I don't like that J.D. Vance's Skull and Bones. Bothers the hell out of me. Skull and Bones are very demonic, and they're an offshoot of the Luciferian Freemasonry. They're above them in the pyramid. All right, I've said more than I should say. God bless everyone, and I like Jesus's words. And the second commandment that He gave us, 2 new commandments. The second one was to love your neighbor as Jesus has loved you. It says, "So love your neighbor as I have loved you," is the commandment, and that means to love as Jesus has loved you. It's not the golden rule. I don't know who made that up. Maybe the con artist Jacob says, treat your neighbor as you want to be treated. I don't know. Some people like to be treated very badly, and they'd like to do some weird shit to themselves, like sticking hamsters in their rectum or something like that. So that's not what the Bible says. They changed a lot of words around, but Jesus's word were, so, you wouldn't go around doing to people what you like done to yourself. That don't make sense. I don't know who thinks that makes sense, but okay. You repeat it as if it's some kind of mantra. Like, it's Jesus's word. Treat others as Jesus has, love others as Jesus has loved you. Perfect love means help other people, give other people. The Good Samaritan story, I mean, it's all there in New Testament. Treat other people with respect as God would respect them, not as you want to respect yourself. People don't have any self-respect. These people lie. Netanyahu lying is no self. So should you lie to everybody because Netanyahu, you should lie. He lies to everybody, so that's how you should treat everybody else. That's how you should treat. Just lie to everybody because he's a liar, so you have to lie too. You treat or you're a liar, so then everybody should be a liar. Like, I'm confused. Treat others as you want to be treated. No. Golden rule, that's the rule of destruction. The rule is real simple. It's the second commandment Jesus gave us. Love others as I have loved you, as Jesus loved you. He gave sight to the blind. He fed the 5,000. I'm confused with what people believe. I can't. I'm 69 years old and I'm looking at everything. It's like I'm in a world I do not understand. I don't understand what people, how they blindly follow somebody or listen. Listen, anyone in the internet with 50,000 or more followers, they're being fed what to say. They're feeding the narrative to you. And there's 2 narratives or more than 2 narratives, but they all get a little piece of a narrative to say, "Oh, I got inside information." Dan Bongino. Okay, I like Dan. He's a nice guy. He worked for the Secret Service. He has cancer. I pray for a full recovery for him and everything. So he has insiders give him inside information. They're giving him what they want him to give him. You think they're giving him something top secret or something like, ooh, no. They're telling him what they want us to hear. Just like anywhere on the left, you're hearing what you want to hear. That's called divide and conquer. Get it? The internet is fully controlled. Well, like 99% controlled. The only people you won't hear from are people from like me who question. What's going on? What's the end game here? Because I don't see it as a good, he's going to send all the immigrants back. Oh, yeah? I don't know. Ask some of the immigrants if they're going back. I don't think so. What, are the Americans going to go on the street and grab them and do it? Oh, wait, civil unrest. Oh, wait, what happens when all the cities explode into civil unrest and it's everywhere? Oh, is that martial law? Would that be what those drones are doing, practicing for? Gee, that sounds pretty logical. Or maybe I'm just imagining things. The drones are aliens. They've just come and looking around. Wait, no, wait, the drones are isn't it funny how the military is not investigating them? how the White House or Congress or Senate doesn't say anything about them, or the CIA or the NSA. No, the FAA. What are they going to do? Nothing. The FBI. Did somebody get their kid kidnapped? No. What are they going to do about it? Nothing. Local law enforcement. That's what they told us. Those who was investigating the drones. Yeah, but not the military, not the CIA. No, not Mossad, which they've been using those drones to kill people in surveillance in the Gaza Strip since 2 years, October 7th. I don't know. I think people need to wake up. I made this long enough. I don't understand how people cannot see what's going on. I'm baffled. I am totally baffled. Stop killing each other. Get rid of these people that are in charge. I don't know. Lock them up. Do something. They all belong in jail. And Netanyahu got to get rid of that guy. You Jewish people, he's going to get you all killed over there. Because you don't think there's going to be one Arab who's going to figure out, well, like, let's just nuke Tel Aviv. Yeah, we're already losing everything. Like, is it hard to buy a nuclear weapon in the world today? I don't know. There's a lot of people who will sell them, I'm sure. All right. God bless everyone and love one another as Jesus has loved you. I said more than I should have said. Just frustrated with everything. Sorry.